This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 381 for the week of Tuesday, August 18th, 2015. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
On today's show, we have a lot of really cool special guests, but of course, I want to start first with our most frequent guest. We have Stephen Paul, translator for One Piece in Weekly Shonen Jump, with us. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, guys.
And you're going to be joining us for a little review this week. What are you going to be talking about?
I am going to be talking about Pirate Warriors 3, which is soon to be released in North America. Of course, it's been out in Japan for several months now, and I played it a bunch. And I always meant to do a review segment on it, like closer to the original release. But then I kind of figured, well, hey, why not time it for when people are actually going to be playing it, who are listening to this podcast? So I will tell you all about it there.
When does it come out here again? Or did it just come out?
I believe it's next week, next Tuesday.
Okay, cool.
Right?
So
August
it'll be
25th,
around,
I think.
Yeah, about the time the next podcast comes out. I'm excited for that one. It looks a lot better than the first two, even. So that's cool. We also have our Japan correspondent, Greg, with us. Hey, Greg.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going? Nice to have you on. This was a surprise.
Nice to be on. Yeah, I'm in the middle of summer vacation, and I wasn't planning on having time off, but I did take some. And I was like, hey, are you recording? And you're like, no. And I was like, oh, okay.
But then we decided to do it a day later, and
yes.
Everything worked out. So how have things been there? How have you been enjoying your vacation?
Doing good. Went to a, Memorial Log, water park. It's, what kind of something that we were going to do with One Piece Podcast Goes to Japan.
Yeah, Kagawa, right?
Yeah, Kagawa Prefecture. We wanted to go there. We wanted to go to, Leoma World, I think is the name.
I don't know, but you were telling me great things about the Kagawa in general, and it's like...
Kagawa is great, but that's another story.
Yeah.
There's a water park there, and they did like a One Piece themed event for the summer, and we couldn't go. I mean, we didn't have enough time to sleep on One Piece Podcast Goes to Japan, let alone go to Kagawa. So that didn't work out. But the same event came to Fukui. There's a water park in Fukui called, what's it called? I don't know. Shibamasa World. And I don't know how to describe it. It's a bunch of like One Piece themed figurines and water attractions, I guess they would call them over here, where you can like push buttons or pull on levers, and the attractions will like cover you in water. So like you've got like shabondi trees that will cover you in mist, and
as long as it's not soapy mist that gets in your eye.
It's not soapy mist that gets in your eye. The best just heads and shoulders above the rest is a Frankie nipple light that shoots water out of his nipples.
Oh my God.
That was the greatest. And they've also got, they had like, I guess this year they had a Dressrosa themed, like bounce houses, right? Those are bounce castles, bounce houses, whatever you call them. They've got one of those that's on water, and it was Dressrosa themed. You can go through and see like Fujitora and I guess Doflamingo. And they've also got a similar, Sunny, that you can go through. So those were in like the kiddie pools, and like the thing about kiddie pools, so I didn't bother going in them. But I did take a bunch of pictures, and if you're interested in seeing any of those pictures, you can do so at my Twitter account, which is Ojimusha108, OCHIMUSHA108 on Twitter.
We retweeted a bunch of those, but definitely worth going to see all of them. I think we did the Frankie Nipple 8 one. I hope we did. I'm not 100%
That's amazing.
Now. We also have Jose Argumedo with us. Hey, Jose.
Hey, everybody.
How's it been going? It's been a little while since we've had you on.
It's been a while. I've been kind of busy.
So, what have you been working on?
Everything. In all seriousness, the big reason I'm here is actually because of OPP Dallas, because the first episode came out, and, it's actually very appropriate that we have Josh here as well, because he's also in that episode. Very briefly, makes a cameo, and it was all about making the trailer for the beginning of the Sabo arc,
season 7, Voyage 1.
Thank you.
That's why I'm here.
And you think I would know all this stuff, but man, it's hard to keep up. Luckily, my editor knows, and this is, I think, the first time we've ever had a very big video project that I'm not the primary editor on this time around. Simply
supervising editor.
Yeah, I'm the post-production supervisor. I'm basically telling him what to do.
You love titles and telling people what to do, so this is perfect.
Yeah, especially since this is the first time I've ever directed something this big for this podcast, because I didn't direct OPP Japan. So yeah, this is Luis is a super talented editor, has a lot of ideas, and thanks to this project, he's now going to start watching One Piece. That's absolutely true. He'd never seen it before, and now he's like, hey, dude, I got to check this stuff out. Like, what's this? And I'm like, oh, here are a couple of episodes. And I shot him a Hulu link so that he can start checking it out. But I've recommended to him that he should not only watch the show, but read the manga if he wants to go through it faster and kind of catch up. Because that's kind of the easiest way that I'm finding the way to catch up. I'm still trying to catch up with the show, but
yeah, I'd say, definitely if you want to catch up quick, that's the way to go. But the anime has a lot of things that, I realize now going through it, that are great to go back to, like any song with Brooke that you don't really get that in the manga, stuff like that. And also, a lot of my
super cool because like he's been to my house while we were editing, and I've shown him like films, like parts of films that he hasn't seen the whole thing, and he's just like really getting into the show and really into the spirit of editing the piece. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, I wasn't going to say anything important. We also have our final guest with us today. We have Josh Kocurek. Hey, Josh.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. For those who don't know, he is the FUNimation brand manager for One Piece, but you've also been working on a lot of Dragon Ball stuff, and I'd be remiss if I did not ask you how that was all going.
It went fantastically. So I promised that I wouldn't speak too much of it on the One Piece podcast, but I do want to, thank all the fans and, everyone out there. I know there's tons of One Piece fans who are also Dragon Ball fans. So, we kicked ass. We actually finished our theatrical run over the weekend. It got extended just due to the fact that it was doing so well. And so within 2 weeks' time, we ended up making $8 million in the box office, which put us at the number 9 ranking of all-time anime movies in the box office. So right under the Digimon movie from like the 2000s. So
that really says something.
Did you make money off that?
Yes, believe it or not, we did.
Oh, wow.
Because
okay. I'm glad you guys were
unlike
profitable.
with Hollywood, unlike with Hollywood, where they rarely make that money, right? Because they spend so much. It overperformed vastly, which, I guess it's a testament to just, how great of a job I did. And, well, no,
me
really.
And
me. No, mostly just, there's just huge fervor for, DBZ and anime in theaters, I guess. And yeah, it was awesome. So yeah, we actually, made some money off of it, which is good, going into our home video release, which will be happening later this year. So it was cool.
And I think the other thing that I think is worth mentioning is that you guys are now doing a lot more theatrical stuff, starting with, I guess, Attack on Titan later this year.
Oh yeah, was that just announced?
Yep.
Yeah, that was just announced.
Yeah. So anyone who saw the movie in theaters, Resurrection F, and saw the pre-show, which actually I produced, which, having, getting into producing because we do that weekly show on Twitch, I have a knack for it now, and I always want to do more. And so Justin and I did that pre-show together. But long story short, there's a section of it that has like, here are all the cool theatrical releases for, the next year or so that are coming out. And so, we have a huge slate. So live action Titans are next. We have Ghost in the Shell, Psycho Pass, Boy and the Beast. So, it's a pretty cool time to be an anime fan, just due to the fact that, we opened our theatrical division about half a year ago. And that was solely due to the fact that Battle of Gods did so well. We're like, hey, this might actually be a thing. And so we're investing heavily in that. And so we're trying to bring more anime to theaters, which, definitely, that's a good thing setting up for whenever this new One Piece movie comes out, whenever that might be. I'm expecting big things out of that. So
you totally hit on all the things I was going to ask you about. Damn.
Well
You'd think
done.
I would rehearsed, right? Yeah.
But
sure-
I only care about One Piece. I only care about One Piece. Why should I go see a Dragon Ball movie? You should definitely go see the Dragon Ball movie if you like One Piece.
Well, speaking of feature-length things that are happening. It was announced today, Josh, that you guys are simulcasting the episode of Sabo.
That's right. So good timing all around. Which is, partially why I was so excited to come on this week. Anyone who was around last year for 3D2Y, when I came on and talked about that, I put it out that we're aggressively pursuing as much One Piece content as possible, and it's a lot easier to get the new stuff as it comes out, just because going back and getting old catalog stuff, takes a little while longer.
Yeah.
So, it's, holding me to my word, as I said, moving forward. So yeah, we got Sabo. We'll be simulcasting it this weekend, as soon as we can, right after the Japanese broadcast, as well as this week's episode as well.
That's going to be what, on August? I should have that in front of me. August 22nd or
22nd.
1st? Yeah, 22nd.
22nd, yeah. Saturday night is when you can expect to see that.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to what exactly is involved, and there's supposed to be some sort of important announcement at the end, so I don't know what that is. I'm not going to put Greg on the spot and ask, because I don't know. But I'm looking forward to that. Who knows if it's big or small news. I think with that out of the way, we have a little bit of a show today. We're going to do some piece together, take your guys' questions. We have a review segment with Steven. We're also going to go through the anime episode. Ed, which episode is that?
Well, Zach, that is episode 705, The Moment of Resolution, Corazon's Farewell Smile.
We're getting into some good stuff, I think, in the anime. So,
I think we've gotten to a lot of the good stuff. We're in the middle of it.
Yeah, we're in the middle of the good stuff. And I think that's going to be just about it for this week, but we have a really good crew with us, so I think we're going to get into a lot of good stuff. Ed.
But Zach, actually, are you doing the One Piece Companion this week?
So the One Piece Companion will probably be out when the read-through ends, Ed. Okay. Just so we could not release more than like 2 a week. Look forward to that. Plus, I want to put a lot of time into that. The One Piece Connection is still up to read, though, if you'd like to know my and a few other people's theories as to what the bigger themes and world building things that Oda puts in. You can check out the One Piece Connection article on the main page of our website. Just want to also mention we did a Fishman Island episode for the One Piece read-through last week. It was over 4 hours long, but it was probably one of the most fun and insightful discussions we've had thus far, so please check that out. I know you're like, all I need is 4 more hours of Fishman Island, but you'll be pleasantly surprised, I think. This week, we're going to be going through Punk Hazard with Amy and Marlene from Viz, so listen in for that. And then we're done the following week. And I think that's everything. Make sure to check OPP Dallas. Again, as Jose said, that's at youtube.com/One Piece Podcast. So,
Episode 2 should be coming next week. That's what me and Luis are aiming for. I just need him to get back from Jersey. He's on vacation right now, so I'm going to not bug him too much, but as soon as he's back, he's almost done with the second episode. Wow. To be clear about that. He's almost done. He's really gung-ho and into this. So,
nice.
We can't wait to show you guys the second episode. And again, this is we have episodes spanning into October, so check them all out.
Thank you, Luis, and thank you, Jose. Why don't we get into the show? This is our review session, and today we are going through the game Pirate Warriors 3, and with us to take us through it is Steven.
Hey, guys.
And also joining us for their color commentary, we have Greg.
All right.
So why don't we get into this, Steven?
Sure. So we kind of timed this out perfectly because next week, I did look this up after the intro, and it is August 25th, so next Tuesday, that the game is released in North America. And this is the latest in the Pirate Warriors series, which, of course, is a spin-off of the Dynasty Warriors series, which has had a number of different different cross-tie-in media flavored versions of the same thing. There was like a Fist of the North Star one. There was a Gundam one. There's the original one is based on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. There's a Japanese particular one, but this is about One Piece, and this is the third one. It is now, gosh, what is this one out on? PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and for the first time, and only in the rest of the world, I think not in Japan, but at the very least in North America, it is on Steam as well on the PC. And this is the newest in the series. And I will make a caveat right here off the bat: is there certain things that I cannot speak to because I imported the Japanese version. And when I got the second game, the second one came out on PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation Vita, and I got both, and they made it really easy through the PSN to upload your save data to the cloud and then download it on a different device, assuming you're using the same account. And so it's very easy to switch between different versions of the game. But I found that I played like 99% of it on the Vita because it was just so convenient. It takes like 5 to 10 minutes when you're good to clear levels. So, it's like, I'm going to get into bed. I'll play 1 or 2 levels before I fall asleep. You got to go to the bathroom. You're going to sit down for a few minutes, just get the game out. It's very easy to consume in small chunks like that. And so when the third one came out, I was like, well, I played 99% of it on the Vita. I'll just get the Vita version again, which of course is the least powerful version. So unfortunately, I can't speak to like how much more powerful the PS4 version is or the PC version will be. I do know that they are different enough that they rejiggered the like number of guys that you have to beat to get an S rank, because on the more powerful platforms you can obviously have way more characters on screen at once. It's the engine is more powerful. So it might take 3,000 guys on the PS4, but on the Vita it'll only be like 1,200 or something like that.
Yeah, only 1,200.
Only, yeah, it's barely anything at all. But yeah, the main point of the game is you just kind of plow through these just these crowds of nobodies, just like Luffy does in the story, before you get to an actual enemy character, someone who recognize, and then you have to beat them. They have big maps and different little zones that you have to take over to change the tide of battle, and so on and so forth. And the game itself, the third one, it's not really a huge expansion on the second one. Pirate Warriors 2 was much bigger than Pirate Warriors 1, which is a very kind of small scale game. It did not have very many characters. They expanded the roster by like at least twofold in the second game. And there's a few more characters in the third one, but not a ton. The big idea for the third one is that Pirate Warriors 1 was based around the main story of, you would go through the different arcs and you kind of played the story in a very, very piecemeal fashion. There were lots of missing parts, and it was kind of unsatisfying. Like the levels themselves for the story were sort of gimmicky. They didn't feel like a regular Dynasty Warriors, a Musou as they call them.
Water 7 Casino Land.
Yeah, Water 7. You had to take Nami up the mountain on Luffy's back in Drum Island, and just lots of annoyances. And so in Pirate Warriors 2, they said, all right, we're just going to throw in a bunch more characters that everybody wanted. We'll throw in a few more maps of different arcs, but then we're just rather than just retelling the story again, we're going to make up our own story. And so there was a lot of creative stuff going on. It was kind of shuffling up everything that you would expect to see in certain locations. You could have like Blackbeard fighting Eneru, meeting the Straw Hats on Shabandi, or just weird stuff like that. But the story didn't make any sense because it was all just kind of made up for this wacky story they came up with. So Pirate Warriors 3 is going back to tell the story again, only in a much, much more complete and satisfying manner. So they do have story levels, but they're not gimmicky. They work perfectly fine as kind of traditional Musou style stages where you're running across the map and kind of stemming the tide of the enemy's advance and trying to complete little objectives here and there, and it's doing what the series does best. And I actually really like this. I think they did a really good job with this. It's much more comprehensive. So like the first level, you're actually in, what is it? Shellstown? Is that where Zoro was held captive by Morgan?
Yep.
Is that right, Greg?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, so like your very first guy you fight is Morgan, and then you kind of do the Nami and Buggy, and then Usopp and Kuro and Sanji and Krieg, and I think there's something like, there's at least 20. I want to say like close to 25 story levels, and it pretty much has all of the major arcs. Like I don't think it doesn't have like Little Garden, for example, anything that doesn't have like a very distinctive villain, but there's a lot of stuff packed in there, and I think it does it's I think in a reasonable sense, it's like to a reasonable degree, it's about what you would want from a story mode of One Piece in this Warriors package. And then beyond that, they have what is called the Dream Log, which is basically just a giant map of kind of nondescript islands where each one of them represents a different level, a different stage that you can play. And you kind of just go through and complete them. You clear them all out, and they have branching paths, and they kind of there's like a giant circle when the whole map is exposed. And these are they're kind of semi-randomized. Each one has a theme, so it might be something like Perona and the cute army are going after like the ugly army, and so there'll be two different sides. You can pick which of the two or three in some cases factions you want to play as. And then everything will be kind of randomized from there. So it'll be like certain characters belong in either category, and you might see them when you start the level, and the map itself will be picked at random. But it'll still have like, you'll still be beating like the same boss at the very end, for example. So it's kind of like it's sort of like an evergreen mode where you can just kind of keep playing these stages, and they're always slightly different each time. And by doing this and kind of clearing out this giant map, you will eventually get to and unlock like a lot of the kind of big boss characters of the story, like all the Navy admirals, Blackbeard, Whitebeard, Shanks is playable, Doflamingo, Eneru, the big guys like that. Whereas everyone else is pretty much unlockable through
Peterman.
Peterman, right? Disco, all your favorites. Everyone else is unlockable through the story mode, and it's a very large cast of characters. I think there's I don't know, like maybe around 30 or more playable characters, and then there's about as many non-playable characters who you can fight in the stages, but they don't have full move sets, so you don't use them yourself. But so you can interact with them basically and beat them up or get them as your partner in the stage, but you don't play as them yourself. And are
there any celestial dragons there as well?
Celestial dragons?
To beat up?
No, unfortunately, no.
Nah, one day you'll get to beat them up.
Yeah, once Oda writes the arc where Luffy, he does the mob thing where he just smashes huge crowds of celestial dragons, then I'm sure, Pirate Warrior 7, that's gonna be real crazy.
I can't wait for that to actually happen.
Yeah, in the story. Yeah.
I could totally see that happening. I'd love that. Yeah.
And it has other than that, like the game systems are largely the same. You're playing through it. You play through the story. You can get better ranks. There's lots of stuff that you unlock by achieving all of the certain goals and kind of hidden secondary goals of these levels and things. So there's a lot of replayability with the campaign, and then the Dream Log is sort of where you just romp around and do random stuff. And in the long term, what like in order to get a platinum trophy, for example, and get perfect completion and all of that, what you're doing is you get all of the your characters to their max level, and you can get everyone has like a partner level, which goes from I think like 1 to 5. and you do that by having them kind of team up with you. You'll have allies on your side in each stage, and you can kind of select one of them at any time. You can just kind of cycle between them. And as you fight with them selected, you'll kind of build up this partner meter. The actual word is a dirty word on this podcast. I'm sure you can guess which one it is. Their partner meter will go up, and then Vanderdecken, yeah,
Vanderdecken meter. Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, I'm used to.
And then eventually you will you'll be able to do your like special mode where for 30 seconds or whatever it is, you're just super powerful, and every time you do a combo, the other characters will leap out and then do one of their special moves at the end of it, and so it's just massive destruction when these go off. And then at the end you can hit the circle button to do a super special before the gauge runs out, and then like everyone has a little insert like cut visual cut thing where they're like hey, and if you have a girl and Sanji's there, he's like love hurricane, and all of the weird sort of interactive stuff, and then it's like a huge mammoth team up attack that does tons of damage. And by doing this stuff over the long haul, you will increase their partner levels, which will unlock, certain skills that you can equip on your character's skill slots and things like that.
Something that struck me about this is that it has slots on slots on slots on slots, and the things you put on the slots can get upgraded, and then the things that upgrade the slots can get more slots. And I was just like, the customization on this is incredibly deep.
Yeah, it can be intense. The main mode, the one thing that I really like about this, and this is coming from someone who I got the platinum trophy on 1 and 2, and I'm actually still working on 3. One of the reasons that I haven't been on the podcast is because I've been super busy. I probably would have had it platinum by now. But
I thought you were going to say I was super busy trying to get platinum on Fire.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's why I wasn't on the podcast. Okay. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. It's research.
No, so I haven't gotten it yet, but the one thing that I really like about the kind of long-term kind of maximizing out the game is that unlike particularly the first game, and I'm kind of forgetting some of the details, but I think in some ways the second game as well, is that you have these coins that you earn through playing the levels and unlocking certain doing certain feats and things. And unlike with those games, like none of it is absolutely random. Like you will not have to play certain things over and over to absolutely zero gain just to get like the one random drop coin that you're missing. Which is something like Jason used to complain about when we did Grand Line Gaming. He would complain about that all the time for the first game because he was like missing the Doflamingo coin or whatever, Jason's obsession was. Like that was the only coin that he didn't have and he never got it. And he was like furious about that. But that does not happen here. You have two different, you have two different categories. One is bronze and the other is gold. And the bronze coins correspond to all of the characters within the game. And you'll just get tons of them every time you play a stage and they're in there. So if you play a stage and you're fighting Hachi, and if you beat Hachi, you'll get a bunch of Hachi coins, and if you play as Luffy, you'll get a bunch of Luffy coins, and so on. So you get a bunch of these and you use them to power up your character. Half of the power up comes from your level, from just playing a lot, and the other half comes from using these coins to power up your characters. And it will tell you, like, for each of your stats, like, these are the coins that you need. You need 9 Luffy, 9 Zoro, and 9 Nami to power up Luffy's hit points or power up his attack or whatever it is. And so once you get them, you just pop them in the slot, and then it'll level up whatever stat that is, and then kind of give you the next one. And so there's a bunch of tiers of these things, and they'll have more difficult requirements as you go up until eventually you'll use like a gold coin, a special gold coin to get the last thing. And the gold coins they all have specific conditions to clear them. So as long as you do that, you will get it. And I think the only semi-random thing is when you're playing the dream log and you're on the map. After every few stages that you play, it will generate like a special bounty character. So it'll just pick out a random character and they'll be running around on the map. It's kind of like classic, like Super Mario World. Like, they're just, yeah, exactly. They're just, running around on the stages. And if you can reach the stage that they're standing on, you just go over and you select it. And you'll play a randomized thing. Once you beat it, you will get one of a certain pool of gold coins that all have the same. It's like, beat a bounty to get one of these. And it will give you one of them at random, but it's always one that you don't have. So as long as you do enough of them, eventually you'll get to whatever one you're trying to get. So it removes a lot of the frustration of kind of feeling like you're wasting your time. And I really appreciate that because, I get sucked into these games and, I want to feel, I hate feeling like I'm just kind of wasting my life away playing something that is not even feeling rewarding to me, regardless of what anyone else would think. So in that sense, I do like some of the changes that they've made. But ultimately, it is, I guess, the conclusion that I would say here is that it is not very different from the previous games. If you saw Pirate Warriors 1 and Pirate Warriors 2 and you're like, nah, it's not enough for me. I want a wrinkle on the formula. I want it to do something wildly different that I've never seen before. That's not this game. If you did play them and you're still up for them, and you want to go through that that process again of just plowing through endless numbers of these goons and schmucks and all those guys. This is it's slicker than ever. And if you always were curious but you never had a chance, this one is the one to go to. I think it's got it does pretty good justice to playing the story, feeling like you're going through the whole story of the series, and it's got replayability out the wazoo. You could, as I said earlier, you could spend hundreds of hours playing this and not be finished with unlocking all of the stuff. So there's tons of replay value in it, and I am enjoying it. I've always been a fan of the series, and this one did not disappoint. But it is, it's definitely more of the same. It is a familiar offering, just in a shinier new package.
So you said we could beat up schmucks in this one. Does this one actually have Doflamingo's schmucks in it?
It does have Doflamingo's schmucks. Yeah, it has. What got added? It does have. Fishman Island was not in the last one. Dressrosa is in this one. I think they had Punk Hazard and Skypiea, but there's a few other things like Jaya is in it. Oh. Logtown is in it.
So they're filling in the gaps. Each time.
Yeah. It's
but they don't add it on top of it, do they?
What do you mean by that?
No. You mean like they don't just take the previous game and then add it on top?
Kinda, yeah. They're
redesigns and everything, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's very familiar. Like if you hadn't played a ton of it, you might not be able to tell the difference. But they have all the levels are redesigned. They're not the same layouts, for example. Let's see. To answer the original question about Dressrosa, I think Doflamingo is there. Burgess is in it. Sabo is in it. And Fujitora and Diamante, and I think that's all of the Dressrosa. So you don't get Kinemon or like Treble or Pika or any of the other the family members. Monet and Virgo are in it, but I think they were in the second one because they were in Punk Hazard. So yeah, you get. You get a mix of guys. There's usually, if there's more than just the main villain of an arc, it's usually like the one most memorable kind of underling villain that he had. So there's not a huge array of baddies, but it's pretty wide. It's like obviously when you're drawing when you're drawing from 80 volumes of One Piece, there's going to be a lot of characters. It's just not super comprehensive to all of the ones that we know.
I was one of the things I was impressed with. I don't know if impressed is the right word, but I think I've only beaten like the first level. And it's one of those things where like I completely beat it. Like it was like, you need to do this and this and this and this to challenge it. And it was like, okay. And I went through and I did everything. And by the end of it, I had, like, no joke, 15 trophies. So I was surprised that you said you're still working on it. So it's pretty tough to get everything. Is it a challenge or is it I know it's not a farming issue anymore, like you described, but does it just take time? Yeah,
it does. It just takes time. The boosting up the partner levels takes a long time, and they all have all the characters have these bounty posters, and that is where you get the skills that you can choose to equip or not equip, or to do whatever with, and like they have levels like you had mentioned earlier. You can get a skill, and then there will be somewhere out in among the rest of the bounty posters, there is a level 2 and level 3 version. It's like something plus. And depending on, like, if you don't have the previous one, then you can't unlock that one, and they go in order for each character. So you could have something where it's like, okay, I've unlocked all of these Straw Hats skills that they have on them, and it'll be stuff like beat 1,000 enemies in one level with this character, or do 4 partner attacks with this character, or beat this character 10 times overall, things like that. But they might have, it might be something where, like, if you're playing through the story mode, and then it's like, oh, well, it turns out that, like, Robin's first skill is actually a powered up version of, like, the one that Doflamingo has or something. So until you get to the part where Doflamingo is in the story, like, there's no way to start working on that skill for her to unlock it so that you can put it on everybody. And so it does take some time just to kind of work your way through all of those, in particular because a lot of the times, whichever allies you have when you play this stage are semi-randomized. And so if you need to boost a certain character, if it's like a nobody, if it's like Lapon, which is one of the characters in the game, or I don't know, like Jozu, for example, you just have to play in a level with them on your side a bunch of times in order to boost them up. And if you're just kind of going through all of the content in a row, you're not going to see them very often because they just don't get reused a lot. And so, that stuff like that can take some time. And then there's, like, you earn berries for doing everything, and then you can use the berries to level up your characters that you haven't been using, which is very convenient because obviously, you're not going to you need to get them all, up to the max level if you want to get all the trophies, but you're not going to want to play all of them all the time because some of them you're just not going to be into their control scheme or whatever, or their moves. And so you can spend berries to level them up, and you spend berries to unlock all of the videos in the like profile screen or whatever. Once you've seen them in a stage, you have to buy them in the index or whatever to get the trophy for those, and stuff like that. There's just a lot of things to unlock.
I noticed. Oh, darn it! You have this on the Vita, don't you? I tried streaming this one time, and it kept turning off the streaming. Like, you've reached a blocked scene. And
yeah, they probably
and it did it constantly, and it was probably wherever voice acting was. I think it was wherever voice acting was seen, and I'm guessing that was an agreement that the game makers. Was it Bandai Namco?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's something that they had to agree to in order for the vocal talent, especially here in Japan. That's tough, but it was a terrible nuisance.
Yeah, it could be that, or it could just be because they have the option of on the PS the PSN streaming stuff that they can outline, okay, we don't want people to just stream all the story scenes from this game because the story is what we want people to buy it for, and so they'll put that block on it so that they can't be so easily disseminated online and stuff like that. But I think you may be right about the voice acting. That could be the case.
Well, yeah, unless Greg, if you have more to say, sorry.
Nope.
Okay. No, that was a very insightful discussion in Pirate Warriors 3. I'm sure we'll have you on next year or the year after for Pirate Warriors 4.
Okay, I'll start working on it as soon as it comes out, and in another 6 months after that, I'll probably be ready to be back on the podcast.
They haven't announced anything about that yet, right?
No,
they usually do it in December, I think, right? During Jump Festa, I think is usually if it happens when it will.
I don't think it would be any time. I don't think it would be within the next year.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be for a little while.
They need more material to put in.
I know. They have to wait until the next arc starts, I think.
Exactly.
And then prematurely end it. But no, it's they've definitely been improving. I mean, I played a little Pirate Warriors 2 and 1, and 2 was definitely, you're right, a lot better. So I'm looking forward to taking a crack at this one. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Greg, for coming on.
Absolutely.
This is the anime recap for episode 705, The Moment of Resolution, Corazon's Farewell Smile. And we get 5 minutes of recaps this week, which is a little longer than normal.
Yeah, still not bad. I mean, it didn't feel that bad when I watched through it.
A lot of good silence in this week's episode. I always harp on that, but it was noticeable this week.
I mean, it is his devil fruit power. You're gonna have some silence.
Yeah, but no, also lack of music as opposed to just.
No, I know what you mean.
So we start off with Tsuru looking stern. She's off overlooking Sparrow Island, and she's wondering how Sengoku knew to deploy them to that island.
I liked the scene in general, but it was odd because there was like. Did you notice like they zoomed into her breasts for like 3 seconds?
That was weird.
It was weird. She doesn't really have them. So, and she's old.
She's less old in this than she is now.
She doesn't really have. It was odd. It was odd.
Yeah.
Maybe they were zooming into her crossing her arms, but it's
Maybe.
because there wasn't much to see, and even if there was, I would feel weird about it. But I think other than that, it was a well done scene. And I love Suri, so
they spy that the hideout on Minion Island is on fire, because I guess you can see both islands from where they are. Back to where Korra was fighting the Barrel's men, and one of them has like a feather from his coat in his hand, and the feather flies away like in Forrest Gump.
And one of them has an X on their chin. What could that mean?
Yeah, little Drake diving out of the window there.
Yeah. Very quick in the anime. Like, maybe he comes back in the next episode. I forget, but he was there for like a split second.
You can clearly see the scar on his chin, though.
Yeah, I think he's in the next episode more. I thought this was going to be the last episode, so to my surprise, it was not.
Yeah. But the most important thing to Barrels is getting the fruit back, because that's what it was, a 5 billion berry deal. It's a big deal. 5
billion or 500 million?
I mean, it was 500 million. It's a lot. It started with a 5.
Yeah.
But you get the scene where Law wakes up, and this is a really sweet scene, with Korra waking him up like that. You gotta cheer up, your life is saved, and then he stuffs the fruit down his throat.
It was sweet until that moment.
Still funny.
No, it was still sweet. Yeah.
But it's at this point that Corazon finally passes out. His mission is completed. He outsmarted his brother, and Law can save himself. And this is where there's a lot of good use of silence in this episode when he passes out there. And Law is trying to cure him, but you can't just make you can't make your power work like magic. Even though you got the psychedelic background thing where he feels like the power.
That was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. But he feels responsible for having Corazon do this. It's like, no, it's not your fault. I'm just clumsy. It was always gonna kill him.
The clumsiness.
Yeah, pretty much. It was he's like, how many times did he lit himself on fire?
A pretty decent amount of times.
Yeah. I think, and he gives him the message it'll save a faraway country named Dressrosa. And I feel like Law now has feels that same responsibility,
like a guilt almost.
Yeah, because he had the chance if he delivered the message properly.
To anyone else.
Anyone else. And
the fact that so the scene, I think.
No. We're not to that scene yet though. But first, we have to talk about Cora like appealing to Law's sense of medical ethics, because we've had this whole thing between Cora and Law before about like
the Marines.
Yeah, like you can't trust the Marines, you can't trust the world government, but I think Cora sort of lays it out like a nation is its people, and you're curing the people, you're helping the people. So he appeals to that, and at that point they're just gonna Corazon and Law, they're gonna walk the earth like Caine in Kung Fu.
Well, Law, I mean, first discovers that I think he was more shot up than he led him to believe.
Oh, yeah.
But then when he goes to try and get help and deliver this, he lets some Marines just pass right by him and waits for one solo guy, which if you think about it, is probably the worst idea. And he picks the literal worst person that could be picked. Mm-hmm. It's pretty terrible. And I was reading the Dressrosa stuff, and I forgot that while Doflamingo invades Dressrosa a little bit later after this, chronologically, not in the story though, he actually, Virgo is the one in charge of the area who was supposed to come and save Dressrosa from the ensuing violence that Doflamingo was. His Captain Virgo is supposed to come. He's just conveniently there. Obviously why. We know why now, but...
Yeah. But we see that, we find, obviously it's Virgo. This is his secret mission that Cora was talking about, and we see, like, that moment with, he can pinpoint the moment where Law's heart breaks, like Ralph Wiggum.
Yeah. It's exactly like that.
And then Corazon gets kicked in the face really, really hard.
Yep.
We go to the ad break. And we come back, and Law is like doing his little baby punches on Virgo, and Virgo does not appreciate the rude way in which he speaks, and he's basically going to make him bow down before Virgo-san, your great senpai. It's a loaded conversation given what we've gone through with Corazon, and I've mentioned this on the anime recaps before. But,
it does a very good job at explaining why he was so upset in Punk Hazard when he first saw Virgo, and it kind of connects that moment.
Yeah. But we get so many his hockey body punches. Oh, crazy. Like he strips off half of his clothes just so he can look more impressive, I think.
Yeah, there's really no other reason to do that in a snowy environment like that.
Yeah. Those are brutal punches though, man. That's
yeah.
And I like how he steps on Corazon's hand to get to Law and then punch Law in his face. Stupid face.
Just a kid, though,
Yeah,
still.
but he still doesn't know that Law ate the fruit. So he calls Doflamingo up, and he explains the betrayal that Corazon perpetrated on him. And
Doflamingo already figured.
But he realized that you guys, you're the only family I've got, which is interesting. It's similar to Luffy in that way.
Yeah.
But we get that Reservoir Dogs style scene with the Doflamingo family.
Oh, yeah, that is what that is.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we got that with Luffy and his crew, too, a few times.
They're like the evil version.
Yeah, I mean, they are. They kind of
are. So Doflamingo figures out that, Corazon must have the fruit, but even though he escaped from where he was, he won't escape for long because the birdcage is coming down. Ooh. It's a little...
I hate the birdcage.
Yeah. They have nowhere to run now, even though Corazon's never seen his brother use his power before. It's obvious what it is. That we have more misty memories of Law and Corazon's adventures, just designed to make you cry.
And it's so he could show, I have to put on a happy face here for Law, so he remembers me smiling.
Yeah.
Also heartbreaking.
They were using, in this final scene, sad Lion King music. It's like...
Yeah.
It just is what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
But, if you think of him, he wants you to remember his smile. And that's where the episode ends.
That it is. I thought this was a well-done episode. I guess...
It's lower quality to me than the rest of the flashback.
Yes.
Still very...
I think they've been handling the pacing well. I was very into the whole episode. Yeah. Which I can't always say with the One Piece anime, where less
happened in this episode.
Yeah, this was... I mean, I don't remember if this is how long the chapter is and this is where the chapter ended, but it felt pretty kind of uneventful. But the Virgo stuff was the heart of it, or I should say the lack thereof. Important things happened. I think it was relatively well handled. I think next episode's where the real stuff is, and I'm looking forward to that.
All right.
Let's get into the Piece Together segment.
Let's do it.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, and theories, and then we piece them together. That's what we're here for. Come on, it's pretty obvious from the name. Let's start on our brand new One Piece podcast subreddit. Again, thanks to Joe for maintaining that and doing everything with that. Ed, do you want to start us off on the first question there?
Sure. Black Gendo asks, a few weeks ago, I convinced my girlfriend to read One Piece, and she is an intense speed reader. She got caught up to the recent Dressrosa chapters in 3 days with breaks.
Wow.
Way to rub it in.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
What's wrong with you, Jose? She even liked the theories in the One Piece connection. Unfortunately, I can't get her to listen to the podcast. When I heard you guys talking about the listener's friend who read the manga in 2 weeks, I had to share a possible world record in One Piece fan conversion.
That's great news. I think you got her through the important part. The podcast, I understand, is a much, much greater hurdle, mostly because of my voice, and not because of Ed's voice, though.
So I'm imagining she read these like flip books. Like she just like flipped through it.
That's
like,
the only way to read it in
that
3
fast?
days. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the only way. Like, I mean, if I'm reading normally, I can get through a volume in like an hour. But like when I've been reading them for like the read through.
Wait, but that's 70.
It takes me like 90 minutes to read
That's 75 hours. So if you don't sleep or eat, or if you eat while you're reading, I guess it's possible to do in that time.
You just have a liquid diet for a couple of days.
Yeah,
I definitely recommend, if she does like One Piece now, have her go back and read them again. There's so much stuff that you appreciate when you go back a second time. And even if you take your time and just look at, the background, certain scenes, things like that, there's so many like Easter eggs and cool stuff in there.
I agree.
You start to notice things like the IWGP Cafe, which is one of my favorite little things from Skypiea. And also the giant's name from the auction house is based off of a wrestler. So, just little things.
I still want you to do a column on all the pro wrestling and MMA kind of references in One Piece.
Hey, just in case anyone doesn't know that, the name of the giant in the slave auction house is named Stanson, which is probably based off of Stan Hansen, the famous Gaijin wrestler.
Greg, how fast do you think you could read through One Piece?
It would take me forever. I would just be lost in the backgrounds on every page. I mean, I tried keeping up with you guys, and I could not do it. So
it's tough.
It's tough.
Especially, with the job and the other job and the third and fourth job. You want to go to the next question?
Sure. Gentleman Bastard 12 asks, love the podcast. Been listening for a few months now. I have a theory which I would like your guys' opinion on. We know that Kaido has said that he wants to start a war the likes of which the world has never seen. What better way to start a war than with an ancient weapon? DS Drake caught Caribou, so who knows that Shirahoshi is actually Poseidon? Will he spill this secret to Kaido, and will Kaido then go to Fishman Island so that he can force Shirahoshi to fight for him? Will this lead to Luffy and Kaido's fight? Will this fight lead to the destruction of Fishman Island as Madame Charlie predicted? What do you guys think? Well, I think the problem with that is I really think the Kaido storyline is going to revolve a lot around Wano. And this doesn't account for that at all.
Yeah.
Kaido is so Japanesey. Like, he's based off of, he's dressed like a sumo wrestler. Sumo's the national sport of Japan. Wano is clearly based off of Japan. They have samurai. And,
you sound like Jeff Goldblum right now, I'm just going to
say. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Life finds a way, yeah.
And I think this also ties into the fact that Zoro hasn't been challenged in the New World yet, and he's going to an island of the best swordsman in the New World, so...
I think he might find out the secret from Caribou. I don't think he will have the chance to go and act on it. I think the fact that Caribou is in the Kaido circle at the moment, I don't know what to call that, even if he's a prisoner or whatever the hell swamp thing he is, I still think I still don't think he's going to actually go to Fishman Island. I don't think we're going backwards at this point geographically, for a while at least.
It would technically be leaving the New World.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, anyone?
I'm not ready to go back to Fishman Island yet.
No. I think I could take a little break.
Yeah, I just left there. You know?
Yeah, I'm good. Keep going.
Malone Guru asks, Kaido has been of interest recently. His inability to die is very important. Whatever his power or fruit may be, it must protect him from drowning, the consumption of multiple devil fruits, and suicide by Sky Island. The first two are admittedly assumptions, but I believe he would have tried them. It could be something akin to a Luck fruit. But I've also considered that the previous Op fruit user may have given him immortality. This could explain Dofi's immense fear of Kaido and how he knew of the Op fruit abilities. What are your guys' thoughts? Will Oda go Zoan or something out of the box?
Yeah, I was going to ask Greg.
I think people are overthinking this too much. He's just a rough and tumble guy who his hobby. I don't know if I think that's how Stephen translates. Like his hobby is suicide. I mean, it's just like something he enjoys doing because he's a tough, hardened bastard. If he could just walk into the sea and be like, "Oh, I've just drowned myself in the sea with this devil fruit power," that would be boring to him. He wouldn't want to do it that way. That's why even when he says it's like, Whitebeard had it right, the way he went. It's because he died awesomely in his view. So like, if he's gonna die, it's not like I'm gonna drown by hopping in the water. It's like, no, he wants to jump off a friggin' Sky Island and see if he survives.
If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die on the Fury Road.
Exactly. So this is the kind of badass we're talking about, right? I don't think his fruit protects him in any way from any of that. If he has a fruit.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think he has a fruit?
I think he has. I mean, you guys.
Yeah, we've had your theory.
I forgot we did this whole discussion.
Yeah, Dragon.
Yeah. I tend to agree. Having reread through Punk Hazard now, not to spoil again for this coming read through, but I very much agree. It feels much more obvious when you read it all together.
I wonder how many people have actually gone back and read through Punk Hazard, like people who read it week to week like we did. Because like
this was my first time. Yeah.
I hadn't read it all the way through. I read every volume when it came out, but I never read Punk Hazard all the way through in a row like this.
It's much, much more enjoyable. I thought it was a very enjoyable arc at the time. I thought it was like, because we had a sour taste after Fishman Island. I thought it was very well done after, but I'll talk about more.
I mean, Caesar's a much better villain than anyone in Fishman Island, but
I feel like overall, when you try to marathon a bunch of One Piece in the manga, like it just is better overall.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true.
Mm-hmm. Next question comes from Red Hair D Shanks, who asks, "What are your thoughts on the crew getting a Luffy Viver card? I think it's about time they got a Captain Compass. He always wanders off into trouble, and if they all get split up again, hopefully not, then they can easily converge on Luffy."
But wouldn't that make sense?
Well, he just got one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that would make stuff easy, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it exactly what I meant when I said, wouldn't that make sense? Like, we want our characters to be silly and to be wacky and to have excuses to run around and do things that are absurd.
Yeah, I think this person is agreeing with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would make perfect sense to have a Viver card, and I hope that we don't get one.
I thought we did. I thought that's what Sabo gave.
I'm sure Zoro would still get lost, though.
Well, that's a problem.
I don't know. The separation is just... I want everybody to be together again because this is so frustrating. It's like, we're all together and we're apart and we're together apart.
Very much agree.
I'm sure it's not the last time that we'll be separated. Yeah.
No.
What's next, Ed?
Question from Met Wars is for Josh. The last two One Piece specials, episode of Sabo and 3D2Y, have been simulcast by Funimation. His question is, what are the chances of these specials getting dubbed when the anime gets to these parts in the dub?
That's 100% likely. So it's just a matter of figuring out the best time to release them.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, we're definitely, I mean, these are huge gets for us. I mean, just due to the length and the content. I mean, they're practically movies if you look at them.
And 3D2Y was longer than a lot of the early One Piece movies.
Yep. So yeah, we're definitely going to dub them and put them out on Blu-ray and DVD when we get that chance.
Greg, do you perchance know if there were I mean, obviously not for Sabo, but there was a release for 3D2Y. Were there like special features, or was it just a straight release?
That's a great question. I still have my copy from Toei gathering dust in a closet. I could pull it out and take a look, but I think there were, what was it, additional scenes or something? Maybe, I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
How could there be additional scenes for that? The thing was
long. It's
long.
because often with these specials, especially the summer specials, they're making them right down to the wire. It's like it's cut and print on like the day before it airs. So
wait, Shingeki I think said something about that too.
Yeah.
They've been coming out very well. They look good. Depending on, everyone has different thoughts about how it was actually handled, the story, but I think it's all looked very good as far as I remember. What's the next question?
The last question on Reddit this week is from Rixta760. Is Kaido going to find what he's looking for, as in death, or is he just going to get beat up? I want him to get more than the moral beatdown Luffy gives his enemies. If the man creature wants death, then why not give it to him? And referring to the gentleman bastard question from before, could Kaido be the first victim of an ancient weapon?
I don't think Shirahoshi is going to destroy Kaido, although I guess that would be an interesting scene.
I'm not sure if I'm ready for Fishman Island to be a part of the story again until the Reverie happens. That's what I'm saying. Is that the Reverie is happening this year in the One Piece storyline, and that's when Fishman Island gets to re-enter the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, does anyone think we're going to get Kaido dying? I guess is the bigger question here.
Okay, this is part of my big theory that goes back. I don't know. I did this a couple of years ago, and I don't know if anybody remembers, but I came up with the theory that I didn't come up with the theory that Blackbeard would have 3 devil fruits. That's been around pretty much as long as his Jolly Roger has been around, and good on the people who called that, because that's amazing. But I did have a theory that he's going to be the 3 strongest, or at least what Oda considers the strongest and or coolest of the types of the Paramecia, the Zone, and Logia. And he's got darkness. He can make earthquakes, which everyone in the world was afraid of. And I also think that he's after devil fruits right now. I think he's after the strongest zone for himself. Which again, going back, would either be a lion or a dragon. And for the longest time, I've been saying that like the coolest final villain would be like a Blackbeard flying dragon that calls darkness and causes earthquakes. I
mean, isn't that what dragons do in Chinese mythology? They control weather.
Oh.
Yes. So
doesn't Shenlong make the sky dark when he appears in Dragon Ball?
And this is everything that Oda thinks is like cool as a kid, like as a 15-year-old kid. So I mean, it's perfect, like Dragon Ball Shenlong kind of thing, and that would be an awesome end boss. However, whether he wants to reuse the idea of a dragon for what we assume is the final boss, that's a completely different story. I mean, his theories could have changed since then. But I have a feeling that because I was actually speaking about this with Steven, but because he's been set up from his debut chapter to be someone that's looking for suicide, that he's been given an okay to die. So I'm fairly certain that he will die at the end of this, but we know that Luffy cannot kill him because that's just something that Luffy doesn't do. So who would be looking to do that? Blackbeard. And I have a feeling that Blackbeard is going to come swooping in, deliver the final blow, do whatever's necessary, and then steal that power.
Yeah, Blackbeard's been biting around the edges of the New World storyline, especially since Dressrosa started. So this would be a good time for him to make a reappearance.
Yep.
Wow, I love that. I'm almost like, I'm scared how much I love that, because I know that, do I want that to happen? Because I know that. No, that's a really good theory.
Also, the 3D2Y DVD release has a special interview with the voice actor of Burndy World.
Burn the world.
Still funny.
Cool.
Zach, do we have any emails this week?
We have a few. First one, this I think Josh and Jose could perk up for this one. Hey, One Piece Podcast, enjoyed the first episode of One Piece Podcast Goes to Dallas. There you go. Can't wait for more. My question is actually for Josh. So, Josh, I love and watch both Assassination Classroom and Seraph of the End. But because both shows are simuldubbed, is Adult Swim able to ask for them in the future for Toonami? Because I also saw with Seraph that it's connected with Universal Studios, and I didn't know if that would make it difficult for Toonami for Adult Swim to obtain if they wanted it in the future. I'd love to see them join the Toonami squad in the future. Thank you for your time. Have a great week. Yeah, you both are great people to ask this question. Josh, I'll give you first.
Sure. Yeah, so just because we are doing the broadcast dubs now, that does not in any way, shape, or form keep it from being on traditional broadcasts. So if anything, it actually makes it easier for the shows to be on something like Toonami because, Adult Swim can see the content in its English form. And, it's easier for them to make their decisions versus watching, like, subbed. So, no, it doesn't hinder it. And, we're to the point where it's just a matter of figuring out what the best shows are for them. So, they have particular needs of their own. And so we're constantly pitching them new TV shows. So there's a good chance that something like Seraph of the End or Assassination Classroom or Blood Blockade could end up on Toonami in the next year or so.
As for that Universal part, because there was a part about Universal in there, Adult Swim and basically all of Time Warner, we're comfortable working with any of the other companies. I mean, Funimation is technically one of the companies we acquire, but content from. But NBC Universal is also one of our partners. We do the Jack and Triumph show with them, and so we're no stranger to acquisition and content from NBC Universal. But as for bringing shows, like Josh said, it's just a matter of working out a good deal that is beneficial for both parties, and something that's gonna light the ratings on fire. So if there's a show you want to see, feel free to suggest it to the Toonami Tumblr or to the Toonami Facebook. So check those out and let us know what you think. Actually going to be seeing those guys this week. It's going to be fun.
Yay. Hopefully when I get down to EWA, I'll finally get to see that. Next, final email, actually. Wasn't a super busy week this week, but he has a bunch of questions and some really good ones here. There's going to be a Resurrection F spoilers, so you may want to skip ahead 60 seconds. Probably no more than that. It'll be a quick one. Connor from Virginia loves the show and the people on it. He has a couple of questions. First one is the Resurrection F spoiler. What do you think of We Are in Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F? I'm sorry, Greg, you were, I think, the first person who got to see that, right? Or maybe
so
Josh
awesome.
was.
I was laughing in the movie theater, and everybody was like, "What? Why is this foreigner laughing?" And I was like, "This is amazing!" Oh, fine, whatever. Philistines.
Josh?
I actually had a similar experience when I saw Resurrection F, the subtitled version for the first time. I was it was at the premiere in April, and so you had like a mix of people who they didn't get it, right? So if you're not a One Piece fan and don't recognize the song, you don't get it. But I had no idea going in that was even in there, and I lost it. I thought it was great. And when we premiered the dub, and I was actually able to watch it with, I had Colleen was sitting next to me, and when she heard it, she immediately recognized it and looked over at me, and she was like, "Oh my God, is this for real?" I was like, "Yeah." So it was a really cool moment. And an awesome nod to One Piece fans everywhere. So I loved it.
Ed?
I loved it. What else can you say?
Jose, did you've seen it?
I saw it with you
us.
guys.
Yeah. And I remember we all looked over at Steve because he was the only one who didn't hear it.
No, because we had to rewind it. I remember that. We had to totally play that back, and we were like, we couldn't believe that it was in there.
No, I know.
It was such a cool moment.
It is. Also, just because of the voice actor similarity, and I guess Usopp and Krillin.
I guess Usopp, but it's a tiny bit funnier for me in the Japanese version because Krillin is Luffy. Yeah. So, not that it's not funny in the dub. Promise. Equally
important question here, guys. If Rick and Morty opened a portal into the dimension of One Piece, what would happen? Greg, I feel like you have to take this one.
Be so violent. Because everybody would be like, we want to be friends and go explore. And they're like, we need to get out of here. We need to get out. What? No, I want to get around here and see what's going on. This looks really... No, Morty, trust me. You don't want to get around here. It's going to be terrible. And it just,
Rick
wouldn't be good for
everybody.
the government. Wouldn't be good for the
Rick
government.
would literally kill everybody because One Piece is a world full of nothing but zany characters. So
yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
If this week's any indication.
If this week's an indication.
Yeah. Ed.
Oh, yes. It's about that time, Zach.
Wait, no. Did you have any more? There's one more question I have. So, did you have any thoughts on the Rick and Morty thing? Is what I was asking.
Yeah, it'd be bad for the government. Rick doesn't get along with governments.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it might be good for the main
robots.
characters. Yeah. Last question, and then we'll get to the moment you've been waiting for, Ed. Whitebeard's final words included saying that the One Piece was found, saying that once the One Piece was found, the world would be turned upside down. Do you think that this means the story of One Piece will continue after the One Piece is found, if only for a little bit? If so, what do you think it'll be like?
I think he meant it literally. The world will literally be turned upside down.
Yeah, I know. That's Ed's big geological theory, I guess. I don't know what to call it. Greg, do you have thoughts?
I would imagine that the last panels we see the characters going off into their own exploration and new adventures. Luffy's if he becomes a pirate king, he's gonna be like, that was cool. Now I want to be king of the knights and go off and try to be king of the knights. Seriously, I think it's what he would be like.
I think he would want to be king of the universe because he'll go to space on his arc, much like Eneru, and that'll be his his story.
But I am looking forward to the spin-off series, Boofy. That's going to be really fun.
Oh my gosh.
It took me a second. Any other thoughts?
I don't know. I feel like once they find the One Piece, that's it. If there's going to be any like epilogue or anything like that, I do think that Luffy's not going to want to be king of the pirates forever. If king of the pirates doesn't really do anything, he's going to want to go off and do his own adventures, do his own thing, and maybe pass the hat down to somebody. I don't know which character he would, but I feel like he would pass the hat on to somebody.
So in none of these scenarios, he settles down and like has kids.
Well, in my scenario,
this isn't Naruto.
This is not Dragon Ball Z or Naruto.
Ed, what were you saying, sir?
As I was saying, in my scenario, Luffy dies at the end.
Yeah, that's Ed's scenario.
That's been my long time theory.
Greg, what were you going to say? Sorry.
As long as we're doing, ridiculous, not ridiculous, but long shot end of the series guesses. I think the last panel would be the kids from Punk Hazard after they get cured by Vegapunk. Several years later, when they all turn like 17 or around 17, setting off in their own ship for adventure.
I don't think that'll be the last panel, but I think that'll be toward the end. When I was reading that, I'm like, oh, this has to come back in some way in the future. With my grand unified theory that I've been going through, I really think we have to see past the One Piece because I think finding the One Piece is what triggers the world turning upside down, as Connor mentioned in his email. I think the One Piece is going to be the beginning of the climax of the series, and then we'll have whatever the falling action from there will round us off. But I like that a lot, Greg, too. I think we got to see that at some point. Ed, okay, now it's time to...
That's right, Zach. It's time to piece the tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's time.
That it's so long.
It's time for some Twitter questions, comments, and theories. Ed, what do we got this week?
That's right. Sam Flores asks, Kaido and Dragon both have dragon fruits? Have we seen a flying Nimbus reference yet? I don't understand what he's getting at.
Dragon, Rock the Dragon, Dragon Ball Z. Is that what he's referencing?
I thought it was Dragon Ball GT. No, that's Dragon Ball Z.
No, the Nimbus was in all of it.
Well, because he said dragon twice. So there's dragon.
But dragon fruit. I don't know.
He's trying to be funny.
I know. I thought the dragon at Monkey D. Dragon had a wind based fruit or a weather fruit.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyone else have a theory about that? Anyway, next one. Chris Julian asks, Kaido, Big Mom, and Shanks attend the tea party together. Semi-formal.
All right, the tea party.
Yeah. Well,
the one that Peckhams and
Baron
Tamago were mentioning in Quatre days. I can't do French. I don't think so, but that would be interesting, I guess. I doubt it, since it seems like Kaido has other plans, like jumping off of sky clouds.
Yeah. Yeah. Next one comes from Lithion, who asks, if CP0 left that morning that Sabo was talking to the Straw Hats, and Sabo said that they're coming back, wouldn't they be back on the island by now?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So they're probably going to be in the next couple of chapters, hopefully.
Did you miss the one from Sam? The other one from Sam Flores?
Oh, I guess I did.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, I'll read it. It's Dragon Leader of Revolutionary Army. Does that make Sabo's firepower Dragon's will personified? A literal dragon army? I'm not sure where he's getting
I'm not sure where he's getting that from either.
I get he's
Fire-breathing dragon?
Philosophical, but I get it. But metaphysical, I don't know. Cute. Probably not on purpose, but neat coincidence.
I think Oda often falls into the neat coincidence pile. As much he does, I think he knows a lot of what he's talking about, but sometimes I think he falls into the neat coincidence pile.
Lithian had another question as well. Have you guys noticed that after the time skip, all of Luffy's fights have been in front of huge crowds, unlike before the time skip?
Do we count?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Well, except for Punk Hazard.
No, Punk Hazard was on the video screens, and all the Toad Goats were watching.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if you can't count that as a huge crowd, but it was on the whole Underworld watch.
No, it's like, it's more than, when he fought in Alabasta.
I mean, the last secluded fight he had... God, I guess it...
Well, Eni's lobby was covered up.
But he had a crowd, and all the Marines were watching.
Yeah,
Thriller Bark was the last one, and there was a little crowd, but it wasn't like the whole world wasn't watching. But after that, I guess Amazon Lily maybe too, but he was in front of a Coliseum, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's been getting a lot more notoriety lately.
Yeah.
In the world.
I think Thriller Bark was like the kind of last hidden one after Skypiea, which was very hidden from the world. Even though I guess all of Skypiea got to see it, but yeah.
Yeah, but who cares about them?
Other people, I guess.
Next question comes from Morgul. This is kind of an outdated question, but any word on a simulcast of episode of Sabo? Yes. Next question. Feltacanto asks, are there any theories that you guys think are really concrete? Any theory in One Piece that you think is a lock?
I think Luffy is made out of rubber.
It's not a theory.
That's not a...
Jose.
Oh.
Terrible, Jose. Greg, do you have any that comes to mind? I think you mentioned a few, yeah.
There's some that I know are on lock, but... Sorry. Hey.
Josh?
Most of my theories are still just that, theories. Like, they remain unanswered at this point.
Yeah, but I'm not necessarily invested in whether or not my theories actually come true. I just believe what I believe. Next question comes from Mark Sullivan. Wow. Baka Ichigo on Twitter. He got his friend to watch One Piece, and he's just starting Fishman Island. When is a good time to have him watch 3D2Y?
Because it's also a good question for Josh.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. If he's starting Fishman Island, then I would say now's probably a good time.
Yeah, I think now's a great time for that.
I mean, is there anything that's spoiled in 3D2Y for people who've only watched up to Fishman Island?
Do they mention Sabo in it? I feel like they mentioned Sabo in it.
He's in the end of it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Mm.
He shows up at the very end.
If that's not a big deal, if you don't think that's a big deal, then show at Fishman Island. Otherwise, you got to wait until Dressrosa.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I don't think... Well, that was a big deal at the time when I was reading it, but a lot of people get spoiled to that, like they get spoiled to Ace dying or something.
Yeah, it's really hard to avoid the fact that Sabo came back, yeah.
Plus, you know what? Let's be honest. We all thought that was going to happen at some point. I think it was just a surprise as to when that happened. I think that's why we were all kind of, whoa. We weren't like, oh my God, he's alive. I can't believe it. It was impossible. Yeah, Fishman Island's fine, I think. Ed?
All right, the next question comes from Illusion Devil Fruit, who asked the question about Kaido just jumping into the ocean as well to commit suicide. We answered that question already in the Reddit questions. Mm-hmm. His other question was that, do you think Luffy smells like tires? He was passing by a tire store the other day, and it made him think of it.
I actually have an answer for this, maybe. I was
Really?
reading through Punk Hazard, and there is a scene where Smoker is running to catch Virgo, and Luffy, but he's Smoke, so he doesn't have to run, so he's floating. And Luffy's running at the speed that he's floating, I guess, and burns fire behind him. So I have to imagine he burns rubber in the same way when he runs, because there's literal fire behind him. I have to imagine he burns rubber in the same way tires do. I don't know. I guess if he's in like gear, if he's like an armament hockey or gear 4 or something like that, I think he's more likely to smell like tires burning. But does rubber smell like tires burning when it's in like a normal state? I don't know that.
I don't think he wasn't saying tires burning. He was walking by a tire store. You know the smell of new car tires that are in a...
Oh, so yeah, what I was going with that is, yes, he probably smells like tires. I don't know why I went with the burning, but I thought that was good. I was trying to use the transitive property there, and I forgot that I was doing it. So I'm just going to stop talking now.
Fail.
The next one comes from Doodoo Magoo on Twitter. I love that handle.
Cat is the name. Yeah.
But I like at Doodoo Magoo. All right. Who's your favorite female character and why? I can start if you like.
Sure.
That's difficult.
I think Robin is my favorite character. She's my favorite female character because she sort of represents like everything that I'm curious about in One Piece, and also like the being the person who is sort of the repository of knowledge and like being the person to pass it on. And I really admire that about her because she sees herself as having a duty to pass on the history of the world, and that's something that really resonates with me.
You stole my answer, but Greg, go ahead.
Well, I kind of knew that would. That's why I wanted to go
I
first.
feel like that's going to be the big majority is Robin, but I'm going to struggle very hard not to.
Well,
pick Robin.
Dude is not a big Robin fan for whatever reason. Greg?
Dr. Kreha.
Oh, good answer.
Totally my favorite. She's like, she gets shit done. She doesn't, put up with whiners. She just is like, yep, I know what I got to do, and I'm going to do it. And that's really cool. I really wish there were more characters like her.
I agree. Yeah, I really like.
I'd say for my one of my runners up, Tsuryu is coming on strong.
Okay, stop taking all of my answers.
with her
She's
like
up
her
there.
struggle against Doflamingo, like that's her careers. She's like his Zenigata.
She's probably a 3 for me, maybe underneath Belmir.
Josh?
I'm surprised. I'm probably the only one who likes her this much, but Perona's a very, very strong character, guys. Let me tell you. No, I like
Strong-willed.
I like her. Yeah, I like her personality. Her devil fruit is really cool. She's adorable, and her laugh is very contagious. Yeah.
I will say I like her current position as like Mihawk's like companion, I guess.
Yes, yeah, and
Begrudging companion.
that whole side
She's got the
situation
tsundere
with her
thing
and
down.
Zoro. Exactly. Yeah, I was very happy that they brought her back post time skip, and she probably still has some story left in her. So big fan of Perona.
Jose?
I think other than Robin, since we all picked Robin, I don't remember her name, but she's Smoker's assistant. Like
Tashigi.
Tashigi. Yeah, I really like her. I think her relationship with Zoro and their rivalry is like really cool to me, and I've always really liked that. I've also really liked Kaya. I know she's like not a really relevant character and hasn't been in a very long time.
It took me a second.
I've always liked Kaya and Usopp's story. I thought that was a very nice relationship that they had at the very beginning, where he would tell her lies and she would get
She'll
better.
be back.
I'm sure she will be, but
She'll
like
be back.
She's already been
it's
back
been
in small
a long
doses.
time.
Yeah, we saw her a little at the Ananias lobby, and we saw her a little in the cover story.
I think in the anime, was she in the manga too, or no?
Yeah,
She was in the Decks of the World where she had all the suitors and the one ugly suitor.
both. She's been in both. Yeah, after Ananias lobby, they went around the world in the manga as well.
Gotcha.
One, not kind of. Ed answered the question for me, so I'll just add one more person. And after doing this read through, I think the one I'm most curious about, so therefore I'm a fan of hers, is Shaki, because what the hell's up with Shaki? Plus, I do like her personality. It's kind of different than any of the other ones I remember, and I like her design, and I want to see a lot more of her, so I think that's a good thing. Not necessarily my favorite. I think Ed stole both of my answers, and I am a big fan of Dr. Correa, of course, but I am interested in Shaq.
Does anyone have a least favorite female character that isn't Queen Orica Vacusuck?
It's Queen Orica Vacusuck.
Shirahoshi.
I feel like Alvida's an obvious answer.
Yeah, I'm with you with Shirahoshi. I mean, I know she's a very important character, but she was pretty annoying.
Oh, dude, I totally forgot about Shirahoshi. No, I love Shirahoshi because of OPP Japan. I only love Shirahoshi, who I've not read about or seen in the anime yet, only because of OPP Japan. That's the only reason I like that character.
I don't hate her as much having read through it, but she's still probably on my lower tier of female characters.
It's a very realistically written, sheltered 16-year-old princess, which isn't the most interesting thing.
Yeah.
What about Rebecca?
Let me finish this read through, and I'll get back to you.
I don't like.
Right.
It's like I don't dislike Rebecca, but I dislike how she's been used.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to.
Well, I was reading the beginning of Dressrosa, not to keep touting that I've been reading so much. But she's a lot better at the beginning because she kicks some ass.
She's a lot better than she gets real bad when she tries to kill Luffy, and you're just like, "What the fuck, girl?" And then, then she gets better again. Then she gets better again,
and then she gets worse again.
I don't know. A lot of people, I think, as I've said before, people made the mistake of assuming that she was the main character of that story.
Well, when she says, "I want to be the one to protect Soldier," and then she doesn't do anything. I don't know, but she does a very good job in the Coliseum itself. I have nothing to complain about with Rebecca, but once she leaves the Coliseum, she becomes very irritating.
I feel like we have to mention Nami because we haven't mentioned her at all.
Who?
Nami.
I don't know who he's talking about.
I swear to God, she's a main character. I know One Piece. Can't fool me.
All right.
Nami, circa Alabaster and Skypia. Yeah, maybe I would have been like, "Yep." Oh, and fuck that, Enies Lobby as well.
And Arlo.
Yeah, I was about to be like, Enies Lobby. She's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Well, Arlo. But
I haven't
recently, she's.
I didn't really care for her in Thriller Bark. The Thriller Bark I've read, I haven't really cared. She's not really doing anything.
Does she do any? Oh,
she's like a bride, and then
she's not good
knocked out for most of it. Which I felt like it was a wasted opportunity.
I don't think Nami's really had. I don't think Nami's been in a place that I've really liked since Enies Lobby. I don't dislike her character. I love Nami, but I think she's much like Rebecca. I think she's been underutilized and misutilized recently.
Nami's an indispensable member of the crew.
Yes.
It's like you need to have that attitude there, otherwise nothing would ever get done.
I also like that she is the yelly, intelligent member of the crew, like one of those.
I like that she's the real captain of the crew in a way. Like she kind of tells everybody what to do.
She is. I think that one of a good example of that is at the end of Fishman Island with the log pose where she's trying to don't tell the captain to with the no, I'm a fan of Nami. I think she's been under and misutilized. I'll end it there.
Yeah. Next question comes from Coster Cram on Twitter. Is Zoro the quartermaster of the crew? No, he's far too disorganized for that.
What does the quartermaster do? Forgive my ignorance.
They manage provisions and stuff.
Yeah, it's like inventory.
I thought he was the first mate.
Yeah, that's what he is.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what he is.
He's in charge of the Dime Master.
I guess Sanji could be that.
No, but I feel like Sanji and Frankie would do that because
So they kinda
quartermaster
share that
also
duty.
he would manage the supplies for the ship.
Or even Usopp.
I mean, what does Usopp really manage though, other than his own stuff?
But we don't
I
know.
think
We don't see
Frankie
that.
manages, I think, the shipbuilding stuff and the weapons stuff, and Sanji manages.
Hold on, wait. Let's think about this for a second. When they went to Alabaster, right? They were effed over, right? They had nothing left. They hadn't eaten in what was it? I don't know, a week or something.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't think it's a week, but they hadn't eaten for some length of time. So if it's anybody, it's probably Robin or somebody that joined post, right?
Or we don't have it yet.
Or maybe
it's like they don't even need one. But I mean, if there is somebody who's good at rationing, it's definitely nobody who's there before Alabaster.
Yeah, no, that's a good
Rationing.
Next question comes from Skills91 Ryan on Twitter. Do you think Mihawk will back Shanks up when the Kid Alliance goes after him? I don't think Mihawk and Shanks have that kind of relationship.
Maybe
the outlier disagree because I don't know what this question is.
No, Mihawk, did walk away for reasons he stated when Shanks entered the fray in Marineford.
Well, he only agreed to fight Whitebeard. That was it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a personal reason. Mihawk is a very guarded individual who kind of doesn't show his emotions. So I think
Mihawk understands how powerful Shanks is, and he didn't want to fight him.
It could be column A and column B. Could be a little both.
Yeah.
They duel a lot, but I feel like they're kind of compatriots in a way, comrades in a way, of their age. I don't know.
I also feel like
I kind of agree with that. Yeah.
I don't think Shanks would ask Mihawk to do it, and Shanks. It would be humiliating for Shanks if Mihawk went without,
That's true too.
being asked.
But I could see Mihawk being very upset if Kid beat Shanks for some reason.
Well, that I agree with that more.
Mihawk being upset about anything from what I know about him.
Also, good point.
Next question comes from Dudu Magoo on Twitter again. If you could redesign any One Piece character, who would you choose, and what would you change about them?
And Josh, you're right. That is a good question.
Yeah, it is. But I responded saying it was a good question, but then I didn't even think of an answer. So give me a second.
I'm gonna pick an older character. I kind of Alvida. Like before she got the devil fruit powers.
So you change her into what she would be.
Change her, yeah. She's always hot.
Keep her the same. No, not keep her. Portly, heavy set. I would keep her that way.
You don't have to be polite about Alvida. I'm just gonna say that right now.
But because I always thought that was a very interesting character design, and when she got kind of designed, I know it was for the purposes of the story, but when she got designed into generic pretty girl, there's less variety in the One Piece.
There's plenty of those kind of women in the One Piece world. Mm-hmm. A main villain is gonna probably.
Mine will probably not be a very popular one, but I like Ivankov's character, but I would shrink the head just a little bit.
Well, he grows the head. He could shrink it, I guess, if he wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, just a default state though that he's normally in.
Does this freak you out a little bit at that?
Yeah.
I would redesign Dragon's face to have emotions. And expressions,
Craig, do you have one?
It's between two fishmen.
Uh-oh.
Can you guess who they are?
Jinbei?
Hack?
Jinbei and...
I like Hack. I think Hack looks good, actually.
Oh, wow. Hody?
No, I'm fine with Hody.
Vanderdecken? But why would you care? Why would you care about Vanderdecken? He doesn't need to be redesigned. He needs to be forgotten.
I just if he looked somewhat threatening or somewhat cool or anything, if he looked something other than what he does, I might actually hope that he wouldn't be banished.
That's the gestalt of the character, though. He's
is it the goatee? Is that what it is? Is it the goatee?
No, it's a neckbeard fedora wearing loser.
Jinbei, go ahead.
Jinbei, when you look at the designs for what Oda had in mind for Jinbei, you're like, oh, that's so cool. Why didn't he do that? And we get the Muppet Man. So
circular Jinbei.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not really. Whatever.
Of the main Straw Hats crew, I think I would like to see Sanji much closer to Steve Buscemi. Much less handsome, much more Steve Buscemi.
Hey, Steve Buscemi is beautiful.
He is a gorgeous dude, and I love him to death. But Sanji, there's a little too much, pretty, I think. He's not close enough to what Steve Buscemi actually looks like in Reservoir Dogs.
Well, he's gained that over the years, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Facial hair.
Yeah, I think he's looking a little closer to that after the time skip, but Sanji's still kind of a pretty boy, so
yeah.
The one that keeps popping into the forefront of my mind is Nami post time skip.
Don't you dare.
Mostly the hips need to be taken out a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah, it's fine.
You need to take some of her hips and put it back in her waist.
Yeah. I think after
That shit's migrated downwards.
What are you saying? Those are perfect birthing hips.
I miss Nami with short hair. I really like short hair Nami over long hair Nami.
The hair, yeah, I agree, but that doesn't bother me that much. I think
that bothered me a lot,
Robin.
I think the Jinbei thing. I think he looked really awesome in his first flashback design when you see him in that soldier outfit.
Oh, when he had like the Shisa things on him.
Yeah,
the sideburns.
Yeah,
that was badass. He looked cool there.
Yeah, and look, I love Jinbei as a character to death too, but I do agree with you. I think his design could be badassified. I'll use that term that doesn't exist. I
was looking for a synonym for badass the other day for one of the columns. Could not find anything.
I don't think there is. Just no. I was
looking for like a PG-13. Not PG-13. A PG version of it.
If you're using it in like the adjective form, I guess. Viz uses the word like grit a lot with the talking about like I guess that kind of quality in someone. You have a lot of grit. It's kind of different too. It's not really the same thing.
If you have One Piece Green, page 354, you can see some of the early designs for Jinbei. And there's one, he just looks like a total badass. He's like a thin, like gaunt man. He has this huge lower jaw that juts out over his top jaw. And he's got like a top knot kind of thing going on. He looks great. And we got Blob Guy, Muppet Man.
I mean, at least he doesn't look like the version that, or is that Moria that's next to him too?
Yeah.
I thought that was Jinbei for a second.
Anyway. Some of these look interesting and some look creepy. You could actually just search it on Google, One Piece Green Jinbei, you'll find it immediately. But, oh yeah, that one looks pretty damn awesome. But what can you do? I can't think of any other characters. I feel like I'm copping out with Nami, but because I don't want to completely change Nami's design, I just would like a touch of realism, and Robin's as well, but I think Nami...
You, sir, haven't seen the One Piece Tower live-action show yet.
Oh no, I've seen a One Piece live-action show. Actually, never mind. I would not change Nami at all. She's perfect.
Man,
she is.
They have a young actress employed there who, I hope she's healthy. That's all I can say. I hope she lives.
You're talking about the one we saw at USJ too?
No.
Different one.
The Robin at One Piece Tower. It's like a living Robin.
Oh wow!
I could not believe my eyes.
I'm at the Nami at USJ though.
Yeah.
I mean that makes me a little better with the designs because apparently it exists in real life. Do you have any more Twitter questions, Ed?
Yes, two actually. One from our very own Sai-chan, who asked if you could see One Piece animated in any other style, such as Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, or Gurren Lagann, what would it be? I think I would go for the dark, magical, almost kind of realism, but somewhere between like Black Lagoon and Hellsing would be cool.
It'd be weird.
I know, right?
Really weird.
It would be odd. Do you guys have any thoughts? Yeah.
Or you go the other way and do like Penny and Stocking with Garter Belt ridiculousness.
I would personally like to see. I think I've answered this question before, but I think I said Frederator last time. The guys who do Adventure Time. I think they would have a cool style to bring to it.
Greg or Josh?
The 90s kid in me would want to see it like high quality Gundam Wing animation style.
Ooh.
Very, very edgy, sharp. Not the low quality episodes, but some of the really high cell count episodes. I'd like to see that.
I would like to see, if you're familiar with the Lupin the Third Fujiko Mine anime that came out.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of noir, heavy line type. I really like that. I think that'd be a pretty cool look.
Since we're talking about kind of like crossover universes, Space Dandy, I think would be a fun world to kind of see One Piece in. But no, I like the idea of like maybe a sketchier looking style, even like a Gurren Lagann or a
I would like I would like to see an inky black thing like Redline, where just
right, yeah, like that.
That would be really cool.
That'd be cool.
Would be cool. Ed,
the last one comes from Allison Meowth 900. Do you see One Piece ending after it gets past chapter 100? That's not that far off. That's it's going to go farther than that.
1,000? Chapter 1,000?
Yeah.
At least.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I heard 100. I was like, what?
We did
We
that a
passed
while
that.
ago. Yeah. We got a
Chapter
question.
1000,
We got a
not the
question
end.
on AP also.
Oh, cool.
From Maxter Dexter asking, this is a translation question. Maybe, Greg, you could help. Steven's not on the piece together here with us. When they call the D the enemy of the gods and demons, do they use the same name for the devil fruits Akuma for demons, or I guess, or devil? I don't know if you remember.
No. What do they call it? They call it the, I think the term is tenteki, which is exactly what they use for when in
No, it's okay.
in Skypia, when Nami recognizes that Luffy is the natural born enemy of Enel, it's exactly the same term. It's tenteki. She's like, he's the tenteki of Kami, and that was in my column at the time. I was like, whoa! I was like, he said this about them, and he's like, but they use the same term here. We already knew that he was the enemy of the gods. So
We've always known that.
yeah.
Also asks, we have a tree of knowledge, a tree of Adam, and a tree of Eve. And in the Romance Dawn pilots, the reference to the tree of devil fruits, forbidden fruits, and legendary trees. What do you think of all of these?
It's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is the one you're thinking of from the Bible, but interesting. It doesn't really mean anything.
Well, it explains why they're called Adam and Eve. I don't think I've thought about that for some reason.
Are you saying that Eve is where the devil fruits come from?
No, I'm not saying... Well, maybe. But the fact that Adam and Eve refer to the tree of knowledge in the Bible, I think that's possible.
Well, there's the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. There's two trees. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil is the one that gets you expelled from the garden.
Next question, unless anyone else has any other thoughts. Envy asked this question, and though she sent it in on time, I read it too late, saying that she's collecting the various BGMs and movie OSTs, original soundtracks, and background music for the series. As I love One Piece's BGM, I apologize, this has likely been asked before, but since there's no chapter, I thought it might be a good time to ask what your all-time top favorite BGM tracks from the series might be. That's a tough one off the top of my head.
Oof.
I don't know
the
hardly
names of any of them.
Yeah.
Before, though, we answer, I do want to refer, we do Dude and Zach's Dance Carnival. You probably could get our general thoughts on our album favorites, at least. Greg, do you remember any off the top of your head? I don't mean to put you on the spot here.
No, I don't. But I guess, the just plain background music, what's one of our favorites? I guess... The one kind of orchestral upbeat, usually like after they beat an enemy or something. Dun 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 dun. I don't know, that thing.
Actually, I probably like the Resort Island main theme from movie 6. The opening theme from movie 6 is one of my favorites.
I think I could speak for everyone when I say Overtaken's probably one of our favorites.
Yeah, I think that's pretty
pieces.
obvious.
The one we use for the top of the show has, maybe just because of repetitiveness sake, become one of my favorites. That one's from Film Z. I've really grown to love the Film Z soundtrack. Like, when I first listened to it, I was kind of unimpressed. I loved the movie, but the soundtrack was kind of like, eh. But now that I listen to it again, there's some really good themes in it. I don't know if there's any particular tracks besides the obvious, the song that kind of goes throughout that movie I love to death. As for
Does that count? Yeah.
Kind of. As for BGM tracks, if you listen to this podcast, you probably hear some of my favorites. I don't know the names of them off the top of my head.
Ed, the one you mentioned, is that the one that has da 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 da?
That's the one. Yeah.
I love that.
Main
That's
title
great.
theme. That's the Water 7 theme as well.
Yeah.
Arriving at Water
great.
7.
It's a great song.
That is that's a really good one. Movie 6 in general has also some really good ones.
Just to beg, as long as Josh is here, please release movie 6. You can put on the thing, it says from the director of Summer Wars and Wolf Children.
It's such a good movie. Please release it.
All right.
It's so good. Thank you.
All right, we just got to confirm, guys.
It was that easy? We just had to have Greg and Ed ask him nicely?
That's all it took, man.
I think Josh knows how much people want that one. I think that's
Oh yeah, top of the list.
Yeah. So that's good. At least it's next on deck, whenever that happens. Good luck, Josh. Just to, I guess, for some quick recommendations for that then. Movie 6 soundtrack, very good. Movie 4 soundtracks is also very good. Movie 10 and 9. What?
We're picking a lot of movies.
Yeah, because those are most of the good soundtracks. They've only released a few just BGM ones. Those are the ones off the top of my head that we're good with. We'll return with Dude and Zach's Dance Carnival. Maybe this fall. I will ask the dude. Final question comes from Master King JC. Do you guys think Nami will show other weather attacks besides wind and lightning? I would like to see some rain, sleet, or hail used in her arsenal, or maybe some cloud-based weapons like the ones in Skypiea.
Hell yeah.
I think hail is kind of the most obvious one that's probably going to be showing up.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen that. Seems like a good one. Have we seen... we saw Tornado in Alabasta, but we really haven't seen it since, right?
I don't know. Thunder's kind of the most effective thing. Or,
lightning.
sorry, lightning.
Thunder doesn't really do anything besides scare the dog. Any other thoughts on Nami weapons? No?
Nope.
No.
Like maybe a lightning sword. She can do a gust sword.
Well, she did the gust sword. Lightning would be
Yeah.
fun. Well, on that thrilling note, this is actually a great piece together segment. Thank you all for doing this. Why don't we round off the show?
All right.
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 381. Thank you all for coming on. This was a really cool, short, little fun show. I, of course, want to thank our zany host, Steve Yurko, for coming on today's show. Hey, thank you, Steve.
Woo-wee! Thank you for having me on, Zach.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure hosting.
Sounds like somebody's got a poopy butthole.
That it does.
Hey, Greg, can you pass another pork chop?
Greg, I want to thank you for coming on the show today, too.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
So what's going on in your neck of the woods? What's coming up? What are you doing? What's up?
As we're recording this, hopefully by the time this episode is live, my new column will be up over at onepiece.com, and it's a big one. It's a big one. So
what's the subject matter, if you could?
Subject is going to be chapters, I think 794 and 795.
Ooh, those are
so
big
that's
ones.
Yeah, that's with Kaido. So if you've been listening to the podcast, you probably know a good, healthy amount of the 795 material. But there's still some cool stuff. Oh no! Hey, well, yeah, man.
You save some stuff sometimes for the column.
I save some stuff. I save some nuggets. So yeah, check those over at one-piece.com.
Don't write out the word hyphen. It's an actual hyphen. Those columns are great. So yeah, they're in English too. We should mention you don't have to know Japanese for that. You just go to one-piece.com/special/Greg, I think it is, and there you go. You can find it right there, and you just
follow my face.
Follow his face, and you click the English button. You'll find it. Jose, what's going on with you? What do people have to look forward to coming out from the Jose Argumedo factory, as I'm going to call it?
We've got a ton of stuff. The big one, obviously, being IGPX, which I'm working very hard on.
Well, who's we, and when is it coming out?
We is Discotech. Actually, Steven's also helping us out on that. He's doing the next episode previews for us, which were never translated or dubbed. So that'll be a first.
Interesting.
I don't have a date. The tentative date right now is November, which actually kind of lines up pretty cool for us because that'll be the 10th anniversary of the show.
Oh, perfect. Oh, yeah, it did come out in the fall.
So it came out in November, November 5th to be exact, but I don't think we'll be hitting that date. As for things that are not IGPX, I'm working on a bunch of other releases of stuff that you guys might buy, but I can't talk about yet.
Welcome to the industry world.
Yeah, it sucks. Please buy those when they come out. One of them is really close to coming out. I just can't. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that I'm working on it. As for back at Turner, we're very proud that we have 15 Emmys for CNN. So we're up for a bunch of Emmys. We can't wait. Obviously,
good job, Jose.
Congratulations.
This, yeah.
Yeah, totally just me. No, it was a team effort between everybody at the network. Shows like Anthony Bourdain, the 60s, Situation Room, Anderson Cooper 360, all up for Emmys. We're very, very proud. And a couple of others that I don't have off the top of my head. Of course, for the rest of Turner, Conan, Steven Universe, Over the Garden Wall, Regular Show, Adventure Time, Robot Chicken, and Children's Hospital are also up for Emmys.
Do you have this memorized?
And HBO is up for like 156 Emmys or something like that. So
okay.
Overall, at Time Warner, we're very happy. But I'm rooting specifically for CNN because
you might be too much of a team player, and it's a weird sentence to say.
I really want an Emmy this year, damn it. I really want one.
What, Greg?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones has a lot, yeah.
Oda's new favorite series. Josh, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Josh Kocurek. That's Kocurek. I do a weekly live stream show on Twitch every Wednesday night at 8:30 Central called Double Talk. I'm actually behind the camera producing. It's a pretty cool show. I do it with Justin Rojas, Lauren Moore, and Chad James from Screw Attack, and we just talk about anime. So it's kind of like an anime talk show. We recap some of the broadcast dubs that we're doing. This season we're doing Prison School, which is a very interesting show. We're doing Gangsta and Sky Wizards Academy. So that's always fun. Outside of that, watch episode of Sabo this weekend. Let me know what you guys think. Continue to send that love and feedback. That way we can continue to get these. What else is there? We launched, if you're a Funimation streaming subscriber, we actually launched season 7 episode Voyage 2 today on Funimation.com. So that's $397 through $409.
Those are the big episodes there. Yeah?
Those are the big, big episodes. So it has one of my favorite all-time episodes on there.
Yeah,
so stoked about that.
That's worth it alone.
Yep. And then one more thing, just stay tuned for Thursday. Pretty big news. Can't say much, but fun stuff. So just keep your ear to the Twitter.
Should I ask if it's One Piece news or not One Piece news? So to people listening, no,
it's not One Piece news, but you should probably still care about it.
Okay, that's all people need to know. And of course, as Josh said, whether episode of Sabo is good or bad, you hold him personally responsible. I mean, that's the way that works, right?
Yep.
No. We're looking forward to that. Maybe we'll do a recap of that. Let's see how it would have been much easier if it were coming out this week because we had a ton of time, but we'll do it one of these days.
Sorry.
Yeah. Come on, Josh.
I would love to be on for that, by the way. That would be...
Yeah, maybe we'll do it down the line because those things tend to be lengthy. So I don't want to promise that that's going to happen the week of because that might be a little bit time consuming. But we're looking forward to that. Steve, how could the good people contact you?
You could follow me on the Twitter at Steve Yurko. You could follow me on Tumblr, steveyurko.tumblr.com. Also check out my online store, that's steveyurko.storeenvy.com.
Steve, there's some big news with what you're doing, though, right now.
Yeah. Well, other than the fact that my webcomic is back in the running again, you could check out Jason the Princes of the Universe, new page every Friday at jasoncomic.tumblr.com. And just announced late Sunday night, on Monday, I have a brand new Rick and Morty t-shirt coming out through Zen Monkey Studios, and that's based off of the latest episode that just aired this Sunday. Stay tuned to Zen Monkey Studios for when that shirt gets released, and stay tuned for more shirts.
Will that be announced on Monday again or Sunday again? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll find out. Zen Monkey Studios.
Oh, don't be in great pain, Greg.
Speaking of shows that were robbed at the Emmys.
Yeah. Don't get me started.
There were 2 big Adult Swim shows that were robbed at the Emmys, Space Dandy and Rick and Morty. I think both of them should have been nominated.
Oh, I wonder if Jose's biased.
See, I thought One Piece should have been nominated at the end.
As he caresses his honey.
I don't have a honey. I have a Space Dandy. I only have a Dandy figure.
Well, you could caress that then.
I could, but that would be creepy and weird.
So yeah, thank you all for coming on. Ed, how could the good people contact us?
Well, Zach, they can contact us at Zach_Logan and Edward E. Festizio on Twitter. The podcast is at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiece. Make sure to go to our YouTube page for OPP Dallas. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. One Piece Podcast is our Skype name. OnePiecePodcast.tumblr.com for news updates and funny pictures. Don't forget to subscribe on Stitcher, SoundCloud, or subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, or call us on our phone number. Zach?
That phone number is 347-497-MACHI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime. With your questions, your comments. No. Your theories.
Anytime.
Steve, a little bit behind on that. Again, please check out youtube.com/
Oh, am I lagging?
Check out youtube.com/OnePiecePodcast for OPP Dallas. Also, a huge thanks to Cody for putting up all our episodes a week after they air. He's been revamping our One Piece Podcast YouTube page and doing a great job. So while you're on that page, check all that out. And I think that's just about it. We will see you on Thursday for a read-through of Punk Hazard. And until next time, everyone, my name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Anytime.